Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
In a galaxy of capes and lunatics, gods and monsters, there are those that live on the outer rim, struggling to get by. This is the tale of Andor, Season 1, Episode 1. Kassa, Cassian Andor's reckless search for answers about his past make him a wanted man. Our director this week is Toby Haynes. Tony Gilroy and, of course, George Lucas are well, this is based on characters created by Tony Gilroy. George Lucas gets the based on Star Wars, created by and written by is Tony Gilroy. Sorry, Diego Luna is our Cassian Andor, who is he is pretty cool. I like him. One of my
favorite actors. I thought he was unbelievable in Narcos. I'd never heard of him before. I'm sure I'd seen him in something, but man, that role was so impressive, and so I was super excited about seeing him in Star Wars. And I think Rogue One was the one that he was in, right?
Yeah, he was in Rogue One, yeah. And this is sort of the prequel for Rogue One. This is the origin story of how this ragtag nobody became a ragtag somebody. Kassa, it's interesting. So there's so many things, there's so many moving parts in this series, and there is a quality of it that sort of reminds me of Les Miserables, and Jean Valjean, and the police officer obsessed with capturing him. And we get that, it's a slow burn, but we do see that starting. We see that with, what's his name here? Just pulling it up real quick.
The goody two-shoes who tailored his suit.
Yes. Which is, by the way, against the rules, which is one of these things. It's like, you're going to alter your suit. Altering your suit is against Imperial rules, expressly because the clones would draw designs on their armor to denote certain groups and ranks, and they felt that gave too much individuality. And so there was this feeling that individuality is an anathema to the Empire. But obviously, the desire to be an individual is a driving force for humanity. But it is the same force that drives you to both serve the Emperor and to overthrow the Emperor. And this is why this is not a good thing in the way it is. And so just to give a little bit of backstory here, we do open with Cassian in what is, let us say, an establishment of ill repute, or of, just fine repute, depending on your perspective. But as far as the Empire, the Emperor says it's, and this is the conversation that we have, because we do have, and it's interesting because in many ways, as much as Cassian is our point of view character, his hunter, who I wish I could figure out which actor that is.
He seems to be channeling.
Is it Stephen Wright?
Who's the actor who played Muad'Dib in Dune, the
Um,
original Dune. He seems to be channeling that actor. Forget what his name is.
yeah. Well, he's doing a very good job at it, whatever he's doing. You know, it's interesting because, of course, when we open up, so Cassian has just murdered 2 workers who were in a bar that isn't supposed to exist, spending money they weren't supposed to have, as his boss tells him. Because his boss is like, you know, and this is an interesting aspect of things because it is about this question of what is our duty? Is our duty to maintain order, or is our duty to maintain the flow of what we do? And that's
order is no. I think the question that is being asked is do you want to maintain order or do you want to seek justice? Right. And it's that same idea of individual versus the greater good. Right. He's trying to maintain order. It's kind of like our financial system, right? It's run on this debt. You think it's there, but it's kind of not. But if anybody ever wanted to look, oh my God, you know, don't look behind the curtain kind of thing. But the same thing here. The police will protect you. The police will protect you. Right. That image deters more crime than you think. And it keeps people placated and keeps people calm more than you would think. So that overarching narrative is way more important to somebody whose job it is to keep the peace. So rooting out the justice that is owed to someone in one tiny little infraction is not as important as everybody believing that the police is doing their job and that they continue doing things relatively on the good side of things. So I think
I mean that's his perspective, but his perspective is also about and this is where it gets into it. So the idea is that from his boss's perspective. His boss's perspective is, look, these guys were they weren't murdered, they were killed in a fight. These were 2 unsavory fellows, I know them well, who are spending money they're not supposed to have at a place that's not supposed to exist. And they picked on the wrong person and they got killed. And then there's a great little 1984 bit here where we're going to reframe their deaths in some sort of a heroic way.
Yeah, but isn't that a common practice all the time anyways?
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. But it is this idea.
That's how, you know, in all the movies, the cops get promotions. That's how promotions work, right?
Yeah, but, you know, but it is this idea that this rookie, and let's be clear, he is a rookie, and he is hyped up on the posters that they showed Han Solo. You know, if you saw Solo, which is a great film, by the way, in and of itself, you know, you can hate on it for whatever reason you want to, but it does build this universe of, hey, kid, join the army and see the galaxy, you know? And this is a guy, he bought the hype, and he feels that even in this Outer Rim world, he is here to serve the Empire. To serve the Empire and the individual corporate concerns that he is specifically employed by, because he is not an Imperial. He is a hired security officer for a merchant group that works with the Empire as a secondary line.
Right. I
probably
think
50% owned by Hutco.
Right. I think his argument is simply from a unit brotherhood kind of perspective, saying, you know, they killed one of ours. That's his only real gripe. Beyond that, I don't think he has a bigger moral stake as it has to do with who does the controlling or whatnot. He's just saying, hey, they killed one of ours. We should do something about that.
Well, yeah. And it is, and I guess, that is the crux of the question is, are the people who died truly one of ours? And what is our, because from the captain's perspective, we just want to make sure money flows, jobs get done, raw materials get sent out, things get processed, it's not our concern.
And he mentioned something else about, the numbers can't show crime going up or something like that. It's elected.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. So, yeah, I mean, he can't have the numbers going up right now.
Exactly. Which, of course, is a classic, Car 54 kind of statement, which is actually from the movie Car 54, not the TV show Car 54, because they were good cops on the original Car 54. That was your original propaganda. But in the movie, it's the idea that, and actually in the sense that it showed really good cops being really good cops and showed the value of cops so that you would think that cops were good people and that people would want to be cops because they wanted to be good people. So that's a whole conversation we can have later. But in the moment, it is that reality that if no one reports a crime, then it's not a crime. And we don't have to put it in our stats. And in this case, no one is really reporting this crime. There were 2 bodies found. There is a story that we've received, but nobody's missing these people.
Who writes the stories that everybody else writes? Who reads?
Exactly. Exactly. So he wants to write a story. Yeah. And for what it's worth, the captain already knows the story.
Yeah.
The captain knows, they picked the fight with someone, and it ended poorly for them.
Yeah, just think about it this way. You're doing a favor to their families and their wives that can carry on that name and not say that their husbands was shot outside a brothel.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
All things considered, calm down, Mr. 39 Pieces of Flair.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. There's a lot of flair on that guy. And that's where you're first supposed to recognize that he is putting himself way more in this than is appropriate for his rank. He is thinking outside his station, which is not for nothing why I think this arc is going to end poorly for him at the end.
Oh, of course.
Of course. Not for nothing, I didn't see him in Rogue One. Cassian makes it to Rogue One, so we can probably argue that, there's going to be...
There's always that newbie in any company that you're with that doesn't respect the corporate structure or the corporate culture and tries to say, and then they get beaten down, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, we have to cooperate. Oh, things, it takes some people a minute to learn that. And I think this guy's, he's a rookie, so he's about to learn that lesson. And I have to believe that his superior is smart enough to know what he's looking at. When a guy comes in and says, he's like, oh, this guy's going to be trouble. So I am sure that this guy has safeguards in place, not to let this guy cause any real trouble. He can't be that careless. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, he lets him, and I guess the argument is he's going to let him have exactly enough rope to hang himself with. And that's the thing, because this guy he does go off the rails on it. And again, it's funny because of course the show is called Andor. But I do think so much, especially this first episode, although we do get a lot with Andor. We get him, we meet the red droid, which is nice. We get our first little flashback to, the before. Karina, which is who he was trying to find at the strip club.
Karina is the name of the planet.
Oh, Karina. Oh, yeah.
Something like that. I think it was.
Yeah. No, but there was a woman there that was his sister. He's trying to find his sister. And he thought his sister might, be in a strip club, which is fair enough. These are, the detritus of the Outer Rims.
Right. And I think this is a future so far ahead that it's not looked at in the same way that we do.
Yeah. Well, it's not supposed to exist, so it's not exactly hailed and hearty, but.
Right. But, like, for example, the first thing you see is he walks down and there's these little bubbles of people, and I was sort of like, what is happening? And I was like, oh yeah, I've been to Amsterdam. That's just the red light district.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's a much more progressive view of that element than we have here in America.
Well, yeah, but, and again, it is, and actually there are parts of America that do have red light districts. And
exactly.
Red light districts are very, and they're called red light districts.
Right, and I think that's the kind of place we're in.
Yeah, and that's the idea. And that is effectively what the captain is trying to say here. It's like, this place isn't supposed to be here, but we know it's here. And it actually serves its own purpose. That all the, basically.
You came to Vegas to clean up Vegas?
Yeah.
That's not why we have a Vegas.
Well, yeah. Well, this isn't exactly Vegas. This is more New Jersey, And as a proud adopted child of New Jersey, I will say that is New Jersey. It's like, no one cares as much about the corruption as you think we should. So long as, the roads get paved and we can, no one cares about the graft and corruption per se. If we did, we wouldn't live in New Jersey. We would live somewhere else where the roads are bad. But, the fact that they're constantly fixing the roads, that's an important part to us, that things work, it's corrupt and it costs extra, but things actually tend to work in New Jersey. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've lived here I've actually lived here almost longer than I've lived not here in my life. So that I can say, as an adult, I can say things work really well here.
I've always had nothing but fond memories of Jersey. Every time I've been to Jersey, it's been a good time.
Yeah, and this is just my basic take, and that's to me that's the captain's take as well. Yeah,
so I mean, like him looking for a sister there seems like just what you do when you're trying to find your next thing. It seems like I don't know. So it doesn't seem like it's looked upon in that society.
No, and I don't think that was weird. It's just that a lot of people decided to pick a fight with him because they needed to feel and what it is these were corporate guys at the club, and suddenly the worker is getting more attention than them, and they don't feel that's appropriate. They want to be respected for their status, but their status their status in the illegal club is not as high as they think it is.
Right.
It's like
they're
your
also
powers
a bit drunk.
Yeah, they're all very drunk. Yeah. Not Cassian, of course.
Right.
But definitely
and these are drunk dudes who are not having very much luck at a brothel.
Well, that's always the problem, there are people that, just go to look, and I get that, but to me, I feel like there's a moral obligation. You go, even if you're just there to look, you gotta be handing out, you have to, even if it's just, a buck, it's like, okay, you keep it flowing for as long as you can, and then you politely leave. Cause that's a society. Thank you very much. And that is what the captain is trying to explain to him. It's like empires, republics, no one cares. We live in a society.
Right.
You think this Outer Rim cares whether or not it is the Jedi or the Sith running everything? Do you really think our day changed because the Jedi rose or the Sith rose?
Yeah.
No, nothing changed, except I guess now we don't have to go vote as much, which was for many people was probably a pain in the butt anyway,
Yeah.
I do not endorse that statement. Always go out and vote. Your vote is the only thing that keeps us from madness. Unless you're already crazy, then don't vote. But,
yeah. I say sometimes the votes get us into the madness. So too.
Yeah, exactly. I
think the real solution is the vote, sure, but fix our education. For crying out loud, fix our education.
Well, education. It could be better. It's good, but it could be better, as the Mandalorian would say. Yeah. Moving right along.
So they follow him down into the alleyway. And I thought this was such an interesting point because you're always wondering, like, what kind of show is this going to be? Is this going to be dark, gritty, and real? Or is it going to be playing within the bounds of what is safe and easy to swallow? And when he gets to that moment, I was like, man, somebody in this situation probably would just shoot him. I wonder which way they're going to go. I mean, obviously it's a really dumb decision. But then you start thinking to yourself, like, what else could he have done to get out of that situation that wouldn't have caused this much trouble?
Yeah. I mean,
what do you think he could have done aside from shooting him?
No. Well, because effectively, I mean, that is sort of the That is the thing, because I think eventually, ostensibly, he just wants to knock him out. Like the first guy, he just goes to knock out and accidentally kills him.
But once that has happened.
Yeah, once that has happened, once the accidental death occurs, the second person wants to negotiate.
Right.
And that's where he's like, oh, I am effed.
Yep.
Because he knows this guy, whatever else happens, even if he covers for him, he is now going to have this thing that he has over him.
So do you think he has a hand to play?
I honestly don't think he really does.
Here's what I thought. You've got to in situations like this, you got to make the other guy just as culpable as yourself in order to really cement the relationship. Like in medieval times, you'd marry your kids off to really say, okay, now we can't fight, that sort of thing. So the only way to do it is like the guy's already dead. Like I want you to, if you want me to let you live, you have to take your gun out and put a traceable bullet into this dude from your gun. If you do that, I'll walk away and I'll let you live because now I know you'll do everything in your power to make it look like something else happened and we're both safe.
Yeah.
So that was other than that, but I mean, I didn't think of that in the moment right there. Like,
And I don't, the truth is, I don't know if phaser bolts are traceable. I don't know what the ballistics on phaser bolts
but
are.
I want you to have done it so you have a personal sense of, oh my God, I hope nobody finds out.
Yeah.
That our motivations align from that perspective. That's one thing he could have done. And I think that would have cost him a lot less trouble than shooting the dude. But I understand emotions are running hot. Your adrenaline is going.
Yeah. I mean, I guess on some, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, that's sort of that's effectively the problem is there's no easy out at this moment. And because there is no easy out at this moment, he makes the choice. And because he makes the choice, everything goes to heck. We then have the two bodies, everything moves forward, and we as a society are the poorer for it. Although I do like how after it, we do try to fix things, and we get into this moment where he speaks with another person and they essentially fabricate his backstory. I like that. That is nice. And the guy is like, no. Remember, you fell down because you insulted my drink. You said I was a bad host. I was not going to handle that because you had too many. And those are those beautiful moments where you see how this culture exists in this outer rim, how everything has to be built together and everyone has to work together in order to get us to the next step. That's mostly the first 15 minutes of this episode. We do see that he has a girl. Well, we see that we do see that there is, basically the connection is that there's a girl that he works with or a woman that he works with. Her boyfriend is like not too sure about this because he's freaking Cassian and he's like pretty hot and he's like, and she's like, no, he's just my best friend.
Yeah, no,
he's like,
they used to date. They have a history.
There's but honestly, to me, used to date, like on some level that should tell you, oh, well, they used to date. They're not dating now.
Right.
So obviously,
right. But at the same time, they used to date and they run some sort of shady, underhanded business about that I don't know about. And it's not something, and you definitely get a sense that he doesn't know the real her. Right. He is with the version of her that she wishes she could be. But I don't think she's reconciled who she wants to be with who she is. Yeah. And she obviously has always left a door open to who she was. But I'm just theorizing. I
know.
But it certainly seems like they have a history and that's what's going on. And,
my big hope is that her guy is actually going to have a big heroic turn by the end of this. And
I don't know.
What, you think he's going to sell him out?
Yeah, I think he's going to spiral out and turn into a problem.
Yeah, that could happen too.
Yeah,
that could happen too, Mozz. All right. We do see that, of course, our little it's not Jean Valjean. I'm trying to remember the name of the police officer in Les Miserables. Jean Valjean was
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, Russell Crowe. I'm trying to remember Russell Crowe's character's name. Anyway, so Russell Crowe, there we go, that'll work. Russell Crowe just says, you will find look for the anomaly. And everyone's like, dude, there's so many things that go through here every day.
Yeah. Although, to his point though, the moment they tried a little bit, they had his face. Like, I mean, like, come on, guys, do your job. You know, I see too. The moment they didn't have to try very hard, and they're like, "Oh, look, hey, you told me." Yeah, and you compare it with that thing. Look at what we, it
is an interesting aspect of the whole thing where it's like, well, yeah, we could try harder, but then we got to try harder every day.
Right. That's the real conversation.
To be fair, this is a real thing, man. Everyone says you got to give 110%. No one can give 110%. No one can give 100% at their job. Do you know why? You can never give 100% at your job because you actually need like 80% for the rest of your life.
No. But for whatever you do have to give, at least give that.
Well, yeah, you give what you can. You give what you can, but you have to, you always have to be cognizant of the fact that, okay, this one was easy. But, if we're going to like trace every single person trying to get through, because let's face it, this guy wasn't exactly trying to hide very well.
Yeah.
He basically, it was a guy, covered in blood trying to flee his scene.
Right. He changed his name from Kassa to Cassian.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh my gosh. He didn't change the plates on his cars. He left when he went through the turnpike. Right. He skipped the toll on the, yeah.
He's got a new paint job. That should be good.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like he wasn't trying very hard, but there's a lot of times where people are going to do stuff that we're going to have to try to do. And that's the thing. It's like, when something's a small crime, you don't chase after it because the amount of effort that you're going to have to put in for the small crime is going to be a lot more than the effort you'll have to put in for the big crime. And yeah, granted, that means that big crimes get through too, but I know, but as it is, it works out well for our well-tailored, cop and poorly for, Cassian. And, then I think do we have a thing to point at the end of the episode or?
No, I think that's just, you get another, flashback when the thing crashes and the tribe or whatever goes to check it out and he walks away from his sister, which seems like they're making it sound like for the last time.
Yeah. And it seems weird also because it seems like it's a tribe, but it also seems like it's almost like it almost seems less a tribe and more a settlement. That these are just like people from the Republic who've just sort of gone kind of utopian and and
they were all kids.
Well, there were adults.
That was interesting to me. I didn't see any adults. I just thought, at the most I saw 17-year-olds. But they all looked like they were kids, like escaped from like a child colony or something
I guess maybe that's what maybe this is their Lord of the Flies. Basically, there was a Lord of the Flies moment. That's just some transport ship of children crashed here and they've just been living off of, the land for the last few years and didn't even realize there was a gigantic mining colony on their planet. Which would be ironic. Oh, okay. Mozz, if people would like to reach out to you, talk to you about all the things that we have talked about here on Andor, how can they find you?
Or they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And likewise, dear friends, if you would like to write to the Capes and Lunatics family here on the Capes and Lunatics network, including Capes and Lunatics sidekicks, you can do so at CapesandLunatics, spelled out with the A-N-D, @gmail.com. And likewise, call us and leave us a voicemail because we will play you on the air if you would like your 15 minutes of fame, call this number, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. You talk to us about anything. sci-fi, movies, comic books, anything at all, I guarantee you we have a show that we will play that on, and we will let you know what show it'll be on if you give us contact information. That's 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And likewise, go into our show notes. There's a link there at Linktree. That's LANKTR.ee/CapesandLunatics. Again, all spelled out. And there you'll find links to our Cash App, to our Patreon, to our merch where you can buy t-shirts and wonderful mugs and things of that nature. All for your enjoyment. And likewise, if you would like to just talk to me personally as an individual, you and me one-on-one, you can do so by writing me at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet things when I can, and my wife lets me because she wants to watch something else when Star rolls on. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEssesser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Mozz. All right, me hearties. Did we even do the intro this week? I don't even know. All right, me hearties. You have come to the end of another episode of Full Stream Ahead. Yeah. I've been your captain with my first mate, Mozz. Come again next week as we once again sail full stream ahead. Arg.